going on, beautiful people? Happy Monday. It is April 17th, and today we woke up to the news that Jalen Hurts is the highest paid player in NFL history. And we're going to break down that contract and what the contract means, especially for some other people. But Jalen Hurts, man, getting paid, I really like it. You guys that have been following the channel pretty closely know I've always been a big fan of Jalen Hurts. I like the way he carries himself off the field. He's a leader. And as a person that just loves the game of football, like I remember playing recess in first grade, and it was me and Alex versus Brandon and Wesley. And there was this SpongeBob song about tying your shoe called the Loop De Loop and Pull. And Wesley would just run in circles singing that song. And I would get so mad because this was serious. I wanted to be professional. I wanted to throw flags and challenge flags. And I was just taking it very serious for a first grader. But I could always respect somebody that treats the game serious like I did. So if I was playing later in life and I saw somebody that was getting mad about the playing around, too much talking, right, during recess, like we got to play and get as much football played as we can before the bell rings. People that take football serious has always, in a way, captured my heart. And Jalen Hurts is a straight up NFL football player, and I love every part of not just him, but this deal too. And yeah, everybody's already been talking about what does this deal mean? Does it mean this? Does it mean that? Is the contract going to affect Lamar Jackson? And we've even heard Justin Herbert's name, and obviously Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. And Bill in the chat, what is going on? Welcome, Bill. Glad to have you in here. So, what does the contract mean for all these players? I think it means something, and I'm going to get to that. But let me go over the contract before we start. So, it's a 5-year deal, $255 million contract. And I took some stuff about the contract here. 179.3 in total guarantees, including 110 fully guaranteed at signing and 126.5 fully guaranteed by March of 2024. First no trade clause given in Eagles history. Wow. And he can earn up to $15 million in incentives and can make as much as $274 million through 2028. It makes him the highest paid player in NFL history. So this contract is a lot of things. And I'll tell you what it's not, though. It's not fully guaranteed. And I think this is a good thing. The market had been so weird since Deshaun Watson. And man, to sit here on this side as a fan and watch Lamar Jackson say no, which we heard it today by Ian Rappaport on the Pat McAfee show. Lamar Jackson had over $200 million guaranteed, even if it was just $200 million guaranteed. $200 million guaranteed. This is $179 million in total guarantees, right? And Hurts accepted that contract because this is a good contract. Hurts is the highest paid football player in the NFL. That's a good contract. But there's got to be give and take. We all know that fully guarantees are good for the player, while they're not so good for the team, right? It's a lot of risk. You're basically handcuffing yourself to this person. So I could understand why there's incentive for the coaches to not get fully guaranteed, while there is reason for players to want fully guaranteed. So where does the truth or what you're supposed to do, where does that lie? I would say it lies somewhere at 179.3 fully guaranteed. To me, that makes perfect sense. It's two people meeting in the middle. Jalen Hurts understands that he is a very desirable quarterback at this point, and we're going to get a little more into that. But he also understands the business side of football. He wants to have great players around him. He just took his team to the Super Bowl because he had a loaded Eagles team, right? So, I mean, if Hurts is just after getting money, like he'll get money, but this is a contract that I think should change the way Lamar's thinking about his contract. Bill said, that's for breaking that down. I've been out all day. Yeah. So look, here's the bottom line right here. Okay. And I pulled this up. It just disappeared on me. So I'll pull it back up. Let's see. Where did this get updated? Okay. Here we go. So these are quarterback contracts and salaries. Okay. Now this hasn't, I'm tired of using this website. QB salaries, NFL. Let's see if this one updated it. Here we go. This is updated. Okay. 2023 average rankings. Okay. So when it comes to the amount of money per year, Jalen Hurts is number one at $51 million. Jalen Hurts will make $51 million. That's a lot of money. All right, number 2, Aaron Rodgers. Number 3, Russell Wilson. Number 4, Kyler Murray. Number 5, Deshaun Watson. So, my point is this. None of those teams that have, went all in on their quarterback has it worked out for. It hasn't worked out for Russell Wilson. We've been looking at ways we can get out of it. I mean, hopefully Sean Payton can fix some things, but this was not a good thing for us. Aaron Rodgers, we know the story. He's a great player, but can't get weapons around him. Kyler Murray scrubs Twitter. They pay him, the whole boatload of money, and they missed the playoffs. They were terrible. And they were the in-season Hard Knocks team, and they were bad. So I think there is an understanding about people like Jalen Hurts' contract was very Patrick Mahomes-esque. And I think it was about a week ago that there was a story that broke that said Jalen Hurts' contract is going to be very similar to Patrick Mahomes. And I can only imagine it's because Jalen Hurts doesn't want to just be a high-paid quarterback in the NFL. He wants to win rings. He wants to, create his own legacy. Now, he deserves all the money that he's getting, and every single contract, the way the NFL, even the NFLPA, they want it to be that every quarterback resets the market. They like that because they don't want quarterbacks to be devalued, okay? But this should really put into perspective that Deshaun Watson's contract was atrocious. Just atrocious. I mean, it couldn't be any worse. And this is the thing. I'm all for every player getting a little bit more money, but when your contract is as bad as Deshaun Watson, it's almost like it becomes an anomaly, and we're just going to ignore that one. That one, that's the kid who lets his kid smoke pot in the basement. You know what I mean? It's not the gold standard, okay? And the problem is for Lamar Jackson, that was the gold standard for Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson saw that $240 million, and he said, that means I should be able to get more than that because I believe I'm better than Deshaun Watson. Maybe he is. Look, it's quite possible. But Jalen Hurts is definitely better than Lamar Jackson. And this is the part that I wanted to talk about a little bit, okay? Jalen Hurts is 24 years old. Okay, I believe I looked it up right here. Man, all of my tabs closed on me. Okay. Jalen Hurts is 24 years old. Okay, which his birthday is August 7th. Mine's August 5th. Maybe that's why I like him. There's some subconscious, bias going on. Leo. So he's 24 years old, okay? Patrick Mahomes is, I believe, 27. So that means, yeah, he's 27. That means when Patrick Mahomes started his first season, he was 23 years old. Patrick Mahomes threw for 5,000 yards his first season, and he became the first player ever to throw for 5,000 yards at the college and the professional level. Patrick Mahomes started, and we knew right away that Patrick Mahomes was different, and we knew that he was going to be the future of the NFL, right? Now, here's what I think, okay? Jalen Hurts maybe didn't throw for 5,000 yards his first season, but there's a lot of similarities. Patrick Mahomes was drafted behind Alex Smith. The Eagles, their fan base hated this draft pick. When Jalen Hurts was drafted, people were flipping tables in the temple because Carson Wentz was beloved in that place. Carson Wentz was where'd he go? San Diego? Or you went to a state. I can see the school. I think it's green. I think you went to San Diego State or something. Anyway, Carson Wentz was beloved. And I have videos that I recorded of Eagles fans on that draft going, "What? Jalen Hurts? What?" My point is, Jalen Hurts didn't get drafted and get thrown into the fire right away, right? He eventually did play. And then last year, I guess you could consider that his first year. I'm gonna pull up his stats, but I'm gonna put it this way: Jalen Hurts was at the age this season that Patrick Mahomes was when he took over for Alex Smith. So they basically both had their first season at 24 years old. That's when they both had their first season. Okay? Now, I want to bring something to your attention. Since they were both about the same age, they both had to take over for quarterbacks like Alex Smith and Carson Wentz. Why is it that we don't consider Jalen Hurts the future of the NFL? When Patrick Mahomes went out and had that first season, nobody was reserving the crown. Everybody was giving the crown to Patrick Mahomes. Okay? And you see 2022, he played in 15 games. He was 14-1. He was 14-1. And his team, they lost. They lost all 3 games, I believe, that he wasn't out there, or 2 in a row. 2, and then they threw him in for the last game. I think it was against the Giants. Or was it the Commanders? I think it was the Commanders. Week 18. He came in second place for the MVP. He came in third for Offensive Player of the Year. He came in second for NFL All-Pros. Okay? And you look at all of these awards, and what's PB? Pro Bowl? Oh, yeah. And then he was named to the Pro Bowl. Okay? So, if you were to take this season and say this is his first real season, like, he was 23, 8-7, didn't really have a team around him. A lot was changing within the organization. And then he got it. Whatever it was, it clicked, and Jalen Hurts got it. And then he went out there. this year, and he only lost one effing football game the entire season, including the fact that he threw for 3,701 yards, which would have been more like 4,500 if he didn't miss any games. Then he got hurt. He went out there and played hurt so his team could secure the first seed. He played through the playoffs hurt. He went into the Super Bowl with 100. He had 101.5 QBR rate on the season over 101, jumping from 87 last year. Okay? I mean, I'm looking at these numbers, and here's the real kicker, okay? Because it's one thing to be able to be great, but can you be great against the greatest people at the biggest stage? Okay? And when I saw that Super Bowl, I knew for a fact that Jalen Hurts was going to be the real deal. I mean, you look at his Super Bowl stats, okay? And I'm gonna pull them up right here because I know everybody knows about them because we talked about them obviously right after the Super Bowl. But what he did out there is just incredible. And I think that we should already be viewing Jalen Hurts as I'm not going to say Patrick Mahomes, but why is it so hard to believe that he is in the conversation? I mean, he's the only quarterback in Eagles history to throw for 300 yards without an interception in a playoff game. He had 3 rushing touchdowns in the Super Bowl, 18 on the season. That's more than LaShawn McCoy had in his 2011 season when he set the franchise record. So the quarterback's out here setting franchise record, but here's the difference. He's also 2 injured games away from throwing for 4,500 yards. His 3 rushing touchdowns in the Super Bowl set the record by Terrell Davis, Broncos Hall of Famer. And Hurts' 8 total touchdowns this postseason are the most ever by an Eagles quarterback. If you watched that Eagles game, most people were so mad that there was the what was it? Was it a holding defense, automatic first down? Kansas City runs out the clock, kicks the chip shot field goal, game's over. You know why everybody was so mad? It's because they knew if Jalen Hurts got the ball again, we would have had the game of our life. Whether Jalen Hurts would have driven down and scored, which I had absolutely no reason to believe he wouldn't, because that's all he did the entire game was show up for big moments. He had 1 fumble in the ball turned into 6 points, okay? And you would think a play like that, I don't care about that. I look at that and I say, you know what? I actually think higher of him because that is the exact type play that could just destroy a person's confidence. You're trying to make a play, the ball somehow just flies out of your hands. They pick it up and score 6. That they kind of come into that lead a little bit. You don't have that cushion. Hurts was so poised, calm, collective, running for touchdowns. That last drive, the one that he ended when he went for 2, that was a thing of beauty. If I had only the Super Bowl, only that Super Bowl, you took away every other game, and all I had was this one game. I didn't know who Jalen Hurts was or Patrick Mahomes. Which quarterback would you have taken in just that game? Jalen Hurts, you could make an argument, outplayed Patrick Mahomes in the biggest game. Now, you can point to the ankle, and that's fine. This isn't about Jalen Hurts versus Patrick Mahomes. It's truly not. It's about giving Jalen Hurts the respect that is due, because all I keep hearing about is, what does this mean for Lamar Jackson? What does this mean for Lamar Jackson? It means that Lamar Jackson needs to eat his humble pie. Because let me tell you, if Jalen Hurts is worth $179 million guaranteed, that means Lamar Jackson is worth less than 179 fully guaranteed money. And I know it, like I said, quarterbacks usually set the market, and that's the way they like it. That's the way the NFL and the PA like it. But you could never sit here and have a realistic conversation and tell me that you would rather have Lamar Jackson than Jalen Hurts right now on your football team. So we find out on Pat McAfee show, right? $200 million has already been offered to Lamar Jackson. He sees the $200 million is not enough money because he's chasing the leprechaun 240 million guaranteed that Watson got, right? This is a great thing. Now everybody should be buying a beer for the Eagles and in their front office. I don't know who their GMs and owners are. I'm not a nerd, but if I were an Eagles fan, I would. But the point is this just kind of made things get back to normal. Okay. It's like you had that one crazy deal and everybody's kind of looking at each other and they're like, are we all going to do this crazy shit? Because I'm not doing that. And then you know what? Hats off to Jalen Hurts because he could have done the same thing Lamar Jackson did. And he was like, no, man, I don't want $240 million. Maybe he said he wanted it, but then maybe they were like, no, man, but we'll make you the highest paid quarterback in history. And he was like, okay, right? Because he has an agent. So there's some negotiation, there's some back and forth. And when it's all said and done, Jalen Hurts comes out as the highest paid quarterback and nobody is upset. Both parties are happy. It allows the Eagles to have cap space and continue to have teams around him. And that's just what I feel like Lamar Jackson doesn't get. Now, a lot of people would make an argument that this is a good contract for Lamar Jackson. And I just don't see how. I don't see how. Because it's almost like you see somebody better than you get paid less than what you're asking for, right? And Bill's saying right here, because he's on the Eagles, LOL, we all hate the Eagles. Just joking. Well, we know Bill's a huge Giants fan, so he probably knows everything I'm saying a little too close to be true. But man, he's got a no clause trade. Look at these are all incentives. He can earn up to 15 million in incentives. He could make 274 million through 2028. This is a long-term contract. This is what Jalen Hurts is. I look at Jalen Hurts like I look at Patrick Mahomes, and you may say that's very premature, but sometimes you've just seen all you need to see. And I really believe that. And I use this analogy all the time. When you're watching a good movie, you know in the first 20 minutes that you're watching a good movie. You have no doubt about it. You're like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I can tell this is a good movie. And I don't even know what the plot. It's just the camera, the angles, the music, the acting. That's a big thing, right? You can tell you're like, I don't even know why, but I'm really enjoying this movie and I don't even know what it's about yet. I'm telling you, after that Super Bowl performance, I said, this is a great movie. Okay. This is going to be a great movie. And Jalen Hurts put on a show. And he's one of my favorite he's the NFC Patrick Mahomes. He is the best quarterback in the NFC. And right now, if I had to start a football team, I would probably go Patrick Mahomes, right? Probably still, number one. I'm going to be honest. But Jalen Hurts and Joe Burrow are like right there. Josh Allen took a dip this year. Let's just be real. Josh Allen took a dip because of that maybe Sean McDermott is not as great of a coach as Sirianni, but whatever you want to say, Josh Allen hasn't put together, a Super Bowl run yet. And look, I really think when it comes down to it, if the Eagles can secure Jalen Hurts like they just did, the Eagles will be competing for a Super Bowl for the foreseeable future. And that is how much I value Jalen Hurts. I would love to have a guy like that. It's literally, I would say it's very close to having Patrick Mahomes. They're always going to be in it. They're always going to have a shot. Maybe not a Super Bowl, but a deep playoff run. Yes, they will always have a shot at a deep playoff run. Now, you could say, wait a minute, Kyle. we haven't even seen Jalen Hurts, you know, did he get better or did the team that was put around him have so many weapons? And what if Lamar Jackson had all those weapons? And it's just one of those things, man. What's going to happen first, the chicken or the egg? Okay, so you look at these quarterbacks, these quarterback contracts, and you go down the list and you see all these people that are getting guaranteed contracts are not making the postseason. They just don't make it. So I would say everything's kind of changing, right? And the best teams, you think about the best quarterbacks right now, there's a shift happening. Okay. It just happens to be now, this was obviously before Jalen Hurts just got signed, that most of the best quarterbacks were not even getting paid yet. Okay. So, I mean, all the quarterbacks that are being paid, I wouldn't want to start a team with them today. Josh Allen's an exception, sure. But you look at this against the salary cap, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, Russell Wilson, these are not great examples. If you look at, it's just like the running back thing. Nobody had in the last, I forgot how many years, but it's like nobody in the last 10 years has made it to the Super Bowl while paying for the running backs. And when I say paying, I mean like giving them real money, like Zeke money, right? And that's not good for running backs. And unfortunately, giving a lot of money to these quarterbacks hasn't shown to be a great move. And there's always going to be a couple exceptions. But usually, when you look at Aaron Rodgers' contract, 25% of the cap, 24.2 to be exact. When you're taking up 24.2% of the cap, that is, that's tough. It's hard to do stuff. And you look at the Bengals and you go, damn, how do they have Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins? How do they even keep all? Well, because they haven't paid Joe Burrow. Okay? They haven't had to pay Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, or Jamar Chase. But I guarantee you, I think this, okay? I think that you're going to see a hometown discount. Now we have to talk about Joe Burrow because there's contract negotiations going on, and although it hasn't made a lot of there hasn't been a lot of publicity on it, and it hasn't been on Sports Center or whatever, we have to talk about it because Joe Burrow is one of those guys like Jalen Hurts who don't have to talk about it. They don't need to demand a lot, all this money and go on Twitter because everybody would be extremely fortunate to have Joe Burrow on their team. Joe Burrow is getting better. When you're getting better, you don't need to be the loudest person in the room. You can sit quietly knowing that, hey, they're going to pay me today or they're going to pay me tomorrow. Why would I rush it? If I rushed it, you know what I mean? Then every time a different quarterback gets paid, the number gets higher. You know what I'm saying? So there's no reason to rush it. But I could see Joe Burrow being the kind of guy to say, a discount, sure. I wouldn't go that far, but I will say that he's not going to ask for $240 million guaranteed. He's going to have some space in there to work out those other deals. Jamar Chase is his teammate in college. We know how, special that connection is. I guarantee you when it's time to sit down with his agent and the Cincinnati Bengals and come to an agreement on a contract, it's going to be, what do I need to do to make sure Jamar Chase is going to be here with me and T. Higgins? I don't want to just be a $240 million quarterback with nobody around me. Like, this is what winners do. This is what winners do. And then the other guy was Justin Herbert, which Justin Herbert is probably a top 7 quarterback. But look, This is not a good time to be Justin Herbert. You just gave up a 27-point lead against the Jaguars. Okay? So, I mean, I would say in order of people that should get paid as of right now, it's tough because the reality is there's the way it should be and then there's the way it actually is. Right now, Patrick Mahomes, and then you got to go um, Jalen Hurts or Joe Burrow, flip them however you want, and then I guess Josh Allen would go right there, and then when it comes to paying Lamar Jackson though or Justin Herbert, I think you would think Lamar Jackson would be the person that should get paid over Justin Herbert. Herbert's younger, Lamar Jackson was a unanimous MVP, etc. But what makes it tricky is that Justin Herbert has his stock still going, Tesla. And I would say Lamar Jackson's stock has only gone down since his unanimous MVP season. So, I mean, it's just really tricky right now. Bill said, I'm happy for the guy. Don't know much about him other than he's consistently beating us. Thanks for the refresher on him. Now, do the same on extensions, but swap the QB position for running back. Yes. So let me get there. So I'm gonna I mentioned earlier that it's been 10 years since anybody has, I don't know if it was 10 years. I keep throwing that number out there, but um it was something that was basically just trying to say when you pay a lot of money for your running backs, you don't really make it to the Super Bowl. Now, a lot of this could just be a coincidence. Like we got to be honest, okay? Sometimes it's a coincidence, but sometimes it's not, okay? So, look at this. Christian McCaffrey. If anybody was going to break it, it would have been the 49ers if they could have beaten the Eagles, if Brock Purdy didn't break his elbow. Okay. Alvin Kamara. The Saints aren't even smelling the playoffs right now. You know what I'm saying? Dalvin Cook. Minnesota was the best, historically, the best average team of all time. Let that sink in. Derrick Henry. They've gotten close. Couple AFC championships game. But no. Nick Chubb. Cleveland, they're not even in the playoffs right now. They're a mess. Joe Mixon. Okay. That we're getting kind of close. Joe Mixon, the Bengals, they didn't win, but they went. Okay. And then you got Aaron Jones, Tony Pollard. Zeke should be up here too, but they just updated this. So Saquon Barkley, $21 million. Now, I don't know if you heard, but Saquon Barkley is not going to play under the tag. That's what I'm hearing from my people, is that, who are your people? ESPN, your people. We all have the same people, but I'm running a podcast now, so I'm going to say my people. And I hope you guys think I'm talking about like special people, not my brother. No, but seriously, there's a guy. His name's Mike. He runs a podcast in LA. He's ran into Shannon Sharp at the LA Fitness and stuff. It's called Microphone, Mike, Raphone. Anyway, he does a great job putting his videos together. He puts a lot of effort into them. And I was watching last night a video about Saquon Barkley and how Saquon's going to kind of do a holdout, apparently, if he doesn't get an actual contract, rather than bet on himself, what we've seen other players like Austin Eckler say, that they're going to bet on themselves, because Austin Eckler already said that. He said, worst case scenario, I don't get a deal done, and I'll have to bet on myself this year and try to get one down next year. Problem is, if Austin Eckler isn't getting a deal this year, I just have a really, really hard time believing that he's going to have a better chance of getting a deal next year. It's not like your chances are going to be better with age. And it's not like you can have a great year and your performance might change people's opinion because you had a great year last year. You were pretty much the Chargers offense. So I think everybody just kind of knows that running backs, you just don't pay them. You use them, and then when they want to get paid, you kick them to the curb and you go get a new young one. And it sucks, but a lot of people that have, uh, kids that are playing football at the football age, who was it that was saying, oh, it was, I don't know if it was Rich Eisen, but he was saying, look, my friends that have kids that are really good at football and they're running backs, I sit down with them and I'm like, don't be a running back. Don't be a running back. The running backs are not going to get paid. They're going to use you, and then they're going to use you, and then they're going to remove you. We had Philip Lindsay, undrafted, and he was the first undrafted player to rush for 1,000 yards and make the Pro Bowl as an undrafted player. He broke that record. He asked Terrell Davis if he could use number 30, a number that is very, very sacred in Mile High. And so an undrafted guy is going to take down Terrell Davis's number from the Ring of Fame. And then what does he do? He goes for 1,000 yards. He proves everybody wrong. He gets documentaries on him living in his parents' basement. Life is good. It's a story about the hometown kid that went to Colorado State, went to high school in Colorado. He didn't change his address at all. He still lives in the same room, but now he's on Monday Night Football and he made it to the Pro Bowl. It's a great story. The next year, he's gone. That is the point I'm trying to make. You can find a Philip Lindsay. You can find it's like as soon as they're like, okay, time to reap the reward that I've sown in the last 3 years, the owners are like, we're gonna honor you, and we're gonna let you go out there and experience the market because we can't afford it right now, but we love you so much for what you've done. We're just going to, at no cost, we're just gonna let you, put a feeler out there. And then guess what? Nobody calls. So it is kind of screwed up when you think about it because running backs are trying to get paid for what they've already done in a lot of cases. You see contracts like this with Jalen Hurts, and you're like, oh, okay, he just got paid for what he's going to do in the future. He has a commitment for the next 5 years to make the Eagles a great franchise. But rookie contracts are different. You know what I mean? It's like you got to, within your time of your rookie contract, you need to do so well that when you get to the end of that contract, you get a big payday, right? And we've seen a lot of rookies put together a very good first 4 years, get to the end of that, and just when you think that they're going to finally collect money, I mean, they go into their last year on the rookie contract, they go for over 1,000 yards, they make it maybe even to the Pro Bowl. They do all these great things, and now they believe because they've put together such a good first 4 years that they're going to be able to get paid, baby. And they don't. And I think that there should maybe be an NFL rule about paying running backs. So I think that running backs should be able to, I guess, I don't know, I'm not an expert on statistics, but maybe if running backs had to make up 7% of the salary cap, then maybe they would have to pay running backs. Because whatever is going on right now, it's just not really fair. Let's just be real. Bill said he's not happy, and not signing the tag means he's not allowed in the building to do the voluntary practice he had on an actual contract offer and he turned it down. But there's going to be a deal for him and for Dex. The new running back market is a setback for him, but I could see a $37 million 3-year deal for 2 years guaranteed, and he'd be stupid to turn it down. And I love the freaking guy. He's on a non-exclusive tag. Who's called him? No one. They'd have to give up 2 firsts to get him on top of the money. Jeez. 2 first-round picks. Nobody's giving up 2 first-round picks for a running back. Nobody's going to do that. Now, here's the thing, right? As much as, we're saying, like, for Saquon to sign that deal, the Giants also have leverage, because what happens when the Giants sit back and say, hey, Saquon, nobody's called. Nobody's called because we have put a price tag on you that is extremely high and nobody's going to call you. So basically, you're at the mercy of us. He doesn't really have any choice. Now, I don't know about the legality, but I'm pretty sure if they tag him, he has to play. Doesn't he have to play for the Giants, or he can't play at all? He has to sit out a year. And then if he does sit out a year, he doesn't make any money. But then I don't know how the next year. We've seen these holdouts, and it seems like they never last very long. The players always win. And that's why there's incentive for players to hold out, is because the players win. The Giants aren't going to start, getting close to real football in September without Saquon Barkley. And if they somehow find themselves in that situation, they better hope to God that Danny Dimes is actually a $40 million man. Because from what I saw last year, for week 1 to 13, Saquon Barkley was the heart and soul of that team. So, and I think I saw the same thing with Tony Pollard. So, when it comes down to it, we don't really know what's going to happen on the running back market. Tony Pollard is out practicing. We just saw Ezekiel Elliott working out in Dallas at Dak Prescott's house, and apparently they're just having a normal practice. We got Joe Stevens in the chat. What's going on, Joe? Just talking some running backs right now. So we had Zeke working out with Dak Prescott. Now, we know that they're good buddies and that they're good friends and all of that, but I want to take you on a trip down memory lane. We're about 1 month ago, and Zeke is cut from the Dallas Cowboys, and a tweet comes out a little bit later with a wish list of where Zeke is saying he wants to play. And it was the Bengals, maybe the Eagles. There was like 4 teams, okay? Let me see if I can pull it up really quick. Here it is. It was a 3-team wish list. Here it is, okay? So it's it's the Cincinnati Bengals, the New York Jets, or the Philadelphia Eagles, okay? So Philadelphia Eagles, they're not doing it. They've already asked Zach Taylor about this. Zach Taylor's walking down the hall, and they were like, did you see Zeke? And he's like, oh, the offseason's so funny, the stories that come out. He just poured cold water on it, kept walking. And this is what is actually kind of sad, okay? The way the actual tweet came out was Zeke saying, there are 3 teams that I'm interested in: the Bengals, the Eagles, and the Jets. And this is the best part. At the end of it, he goes, I'll make up my mind soon. He said, I'll make up my mind soon. do you do mainly Broncos content or all NFL content? All NFL, but when I'm doing Broncos content, it's a little longer and a little bit more passionate. Love me my Broncos. Bill said the first half of the show was him going on Jalen Hurts love fest, and then we started talking about Saquon. I'm a Giants fan. We talked about everyone here. Oh, okay, I got you. I'm a Seahawks content creator. I live in Washington State, so I been to some Hawks games, but I don't want to tell you the last one I went to because I'm still not over the mental trauma that Nathaniel Hackett put me through on that 65-yard field goal. Okay. So at the end of this tweet, Zeke says, I'll have my mind made up soon. So somehow in Zeke's mind, and this is not me picking on Zeke, this is actually kind of sad. I felt bad for him. He said in his head that there are 3 teams that I would like to play for, and I'll make up my mind soon of where I want to go. Oh, that month ago probably feels like a lifetime because Zeke, with his own publicity team and everything, while he's working out with Zach, doing drills, he makes sure that this gets on social media, that other teams see his name. They see that he's working out, that he's not going to show up overweight. Zeke, nobody has called. Nobody. And this is a big change from Zeke thinking that he could literally pick the team that he wants to play for. You know, I mean, that is what we call a reality check. Humble pie. You go from thinking that you get to just sit back and pick and choose to, hey, nobody's called. Nobody. And now I want to ask you guys in the chat, who is going to get Zeke? Because Zeke is too good to go, just disappear. But here's the thing. Is he? Because he had a great rookie season and he never had a season like it again. Now I love Zeke. I personally love him. I'll flex him on my fantasy team if it's Thanksgiving, because I know he's going to jump in that Salvation Army bucket. But let's be real. Okay, let's take the kind of the heart out of it. He's fun, to watch and all that, but is he worth the money? And if no, is he willing to pay for less money? And if yes, what teams is he willing to go to? Because if it's still only those 3 teams, I'm sure the Cowboys would take you for whatever price. And maybe the Cowboys do, I don't want to say that. I changed my mind, because at the bottom line is Tony Pollard is going to get the keys. Okay. And they're letting Tony Pollard go on a 1-year deal. And this is his 1 year to prove it. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys draft the running back out of Texas in the first round. Robinson, I can't remember his name right now. The best running back in this year's draft. They draft him, and we'll see what happens with Tony Pollard. But if Tony Pollard does really good, maybe they try to keep them both. But Zeke is another guy that I just don't know where he's going to end up. And you just see, man, that there's no market for these running backs. And I'm looking right now to see if any news has come out. Ezekiel Elliott, here we go. It says he was spotted at Cowboys practice alongside Dak Prescott. And some people are saying maybe he does stay in Dallas. But, yeah, so this was the tweet I was referring to. Just Zeke doing some work. Man, I actually feel for him, though. I want to see him go. It just reminds me of the Cowboys, man. The Cowboys have such a weird way of parting with players, because Jerry Jones gets into such a love fest with them, and then all of a sudden he realized that he overpaid, and then they're gone, like they just disappear. Dez Bryant. You remember Dez Bryant? How many years went by and we were all still asking ourselves, why is Dez Bryant gone? And they'll be like, oh, he had on the field, off the field issues, whatever. It's like, who cares? A lot of players have off the field, issues, and they find a way to suit up. How many times has Josh Gordon been reinstated in the NFL? Like, was Des Bryant really that terrible? Or did Jerry Jones pay him so much money that, you get used to living a certain lifestyle, and then you know that Jerry Jones is like, this is ridiculous. Why am I paying you this much money? Why am I bending the salary cap for Ezekiel Elliott when he didn't even have a rush over like 27 yards last year? Like, he just was very average. And then they go out there into the market and disappear forever to never be seen again. About the LaDainian Tomlinson thing, and also I wanted to mention that Patrick Mahomes mentioned today that he wouldn't say he's 100% when it comes to his ankle. He said, now it's been more about kind of managing it. I wouldn't say I'm at 100%, but I've had no limitations necessarily. It just, when you go through the grind of a week of training, you're trying to push and go through the rehab process, but at the same time, you want to make sure you're still building. You might be a little sore, whatever. But just something to keep in mind for all of you Chiefs fans. Bijan, thank you. Thank you. I was trying to remember his name. So Patrick Mahomes, not 100%. There is a video of him reacting to the Eagles thing. LaDainian Tomlinson had a take about, I guess, what this means. And LaDainian Tomlinson was saying that this would be a good thing for Lamar Jackson. But like I said, I don't think it is. I really don't think that it's a good thing. I always do my news roundup too for today. And let's see, for our Seahawks fan, I want to see if the Seahawks have made any moves at all. There we go. All right, the Seattle Seahawks defensive end Miles Adams signed his exclusive rights free agent tender. Linebacker John Riddigan signed his exclusive rights free agent tender. And Michael Jackson signed the same thing. There's been some cuts in rainy Seattle. Darwin Thompson, running back, waived. Connor Weddington, wide receiver, waived. Aesop Winston was waived, and Jared Hewitt waived. Chris Steele, it might be Steely. Maybe you probably tell me, Joe. So those are the moves. I wanted to mention something too, just the Bronco fan in me. This might not seem like a really interesting story, but to me it is. You guys know, and you guys, Joe will know too. Russell Wilson is. I'm gonna humble myself here, because when Russell Wilson became a Bronco last season, there were people telling me, "Oh, he's a lot. He's a lot to deal with," and I kind of took it and just shrugged it off. I'm like, look, we've gone through 10 quarterbacks since Manning retired, and not one of them have been good. The best quarterback that we've had, you could make an argument, was Case Keenum. It's just John Elway just missing on all these quarterbacks. So look, Russell Wilson, the fastest player, what was it, to win 100 games, 10 seasons. He was probably going to be a Hall of Famer even if he retired that season. Pro Bowler every year. Seahawks were always relevant because of Russell Wilson. That's what I thought, right? So, look, people literally, to a Bronco fan that has gone through the longest drought from winning a Super Bowl. No team has ever won the Super Bowl and then proceeded to miss the playoffs for 8 years straight. Okay. And I thought about this the other day because I remember growing up as a Bronco fan in 2005. It was the AFC Championship game against the Steelers, and we lost it. And then the Steelers beat the Seahawks with Jerome Bettis. And I just remember, the Broncos beating the Patriots in the divisional round. Champ Bailey's 98-yard return, and then he started walking and fumbled the ball. I remember these iconic moments, and I remember as a kid always having something to look forward to. Now, the Broncos weren't, the best football team. They just were always good. Pat Bowlen was a great owner, and he always had the Broncos competing for something. They had more Super Bowl appearances than they had losing seasons up until 2015. And I just became used to being relevant. Not the best, not the Patriots, but you always know that you have a chance, right? And I thought about this from somebody that's, let's say, Super Bowl 50, 2015, let's say somebody was 6 years old, right? That means that they're 14 years old right now. So maybe they didn't really remember 6 years old, but they remember 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They're about to get their driver's permit. In their entire life, they haven't seen the Broncos make the playoffs. And I'm turning 29 this year. In my entire life, I've never seen the Broncos not miss the playoffs until, you know, this span of time. My point is it kind of dawned on me that for some other Kyle Kitzman, that's my name, for some other Kyle out there that was born in a different era and a different time, the Broncos are like the Browns, the Texans. This is amazing for me. I mean, this is, the mind blown emoji. This is my mind blown emoji. When I realized this, I felt sick to my stomach. I was like, we are not the Texans. But for somebody out there, we are. The Broncos suck. They would say that because that's all they've ever known. The Broncos to win 5 games, miss the playoffs. So my point is when Russell Wilson got traded, we didn't give a damn about Russell Wilson's a lot to deal with. He's a big personality. He's fake. I was like, dude, I don't care. We'll take all the fake people. We just want to win again. We got desperate. And one full year into it, I can honestly say you only accept all of that phoniness, all of that fakeness, all that cringiness. You only accept it if you're winning. But when you're not winning, nobody wants to accept it. Nobody likes it when you're not. It seems like he's wasting his time. Like, you don't need to hire a media team to go to your house to televise your Easter party. It's Easter. Okay, you have blow up slides and all these people doing face paintings, and you're recording the whole thing. It's just, why? Who's this for? Do you get these moments that is just like, how is somebody that is supposed to be so humble and selfless getting in trouble for his nonprofit apparently giving what, like 10 cents of every dollar while the people running it are rich, and always making sure that there's all these cameras around because everything's about your brand, Russell Wilson. Like, and I'm not going to really get into it, but really, if you want to live the life that you're saying that you live, the best way to do it is to not tell people what you're doing, and the religion that he is following says not to, tell people what you're doing to receive credit from people. You're supposed to do it in silence. And I'm not going to judge that. I'm really not, because everybody has the freedom to express themselves however they want. But my point is that when Sean Payton came into Denver, he made a lot of changes. He put a car in front of the practice center where the players walk in every day. He took all the mirrors off of the car, the rear view mirrors, the side mirrors, all the mirrors. And he said, we're not looking backwards, we're looking forward. Now, here's the kicker. He puts Russ in his place right away and says that you can't have any more of your personal coaches, dietitians, whatever it is. You don't get your office. You are a player. I'm Sean Payton. Nathaniel Hackett was so stoked that he got a head coaching job. He was like, Russ, we're going to do this together. Run this journey together, man. And Sean Payton came in and was like, I've been doing this for a very long time. and you don't get an office. And you will only get the coaches that I tell you you can have. And I can demand that from you because I am clearly the alpha in this relationship. And if the Broncos are bad next year and somebody's got to go, it's not going to be me. And that, I can guarantee you that. So the Broncos, Sean Payton, they don't allow media to come to the facility. We've never seen anything like this before. The Broncos have already started their training camp to some extent, and I'm on denverbroncos.com trying to figure out what's going on, who's reporting, who's not. And I find out Sean Payton is not allowing media to be there. He says it's a distraction. I wonder, who is he talking about? It's a distraction for one person. Everybody else was handling it very well. But it's just corporal punishment, right? You got to set a tone right now. And right now, I think Sean Payton is trying to do a lot of deprogramming Russell Wilson. You don't need the cameras to always be on. You don't need it to always be about you. All we need to do right now is lock in, focus, and play football. We don't need to promote anything. We don't, we just need to get back to the basics. And if we can't do it this year, Russell Wilson is going to have to go. But the thing is I don't believe Russell Wilson's washed. I do not believe that he fell off the biggest cliff we have ever seen any quarterback jump. Look, how fast was he up here? And all of a sudden, I understand his last year in Seattle wasn't great, but he was still, when he got traded, everybody was excited and sad. So he was somewhat good, right? Joe is saying, at least they aren't ATV accidents on a bye week, LOL. He's been a lot to deal with since 2015, golf cart accidents. Yeah, did that just happen? Because I heard about that this morning. I heard it from Perna, and he was like, I hope he was drunk. Russell Wilson needs to loosen up a little bit. He's like, I'm not condoning alcoholism, but I am condoning Russell Wilson to loosen up. He goes, refs beat the Steelers in Super Bowl 40. Well, he made his own demise. Joke. Jake Heaps is gone. Hey, man, I'm about to hop off. Would you want to collab sometimes? Absolutely. Go ahead. Actually, right now, put your information in the comment, your email address, and I'll be sure at the end of this podcast to send you an email. I would love to interview you about the Seattle Seahawks. And obviously with my Broncos, we would probably have a great interview because we're doing an episodic series called Interview 32, where we're interviewing a fan of every team. We've done the Lions. We've done the Raiders. We're going to do a more in-depth, thorough Lions. We did the Packers. So awesome. That'll be awesome. Nice meeting you. Liked, subsubbed. You're the man. We'll sub you back when we get out of here, but go ahead and drop your email, and yeah, I'll just add you on Twitter. Yeah, and I'm FTBLONLYPODCS, football only podcast. So yeah, just go ahead and follow, and I'll follow you, and we'll do it that way. So yeah. So anyway, I thought, look, it's a small story, right? Denver doesn't have media at their field, but I think it says a lot about Sean Payton is trying to do. Sean Payton is very intentional. When he went to his opening press conference, he had his scarf folded and an arrow going up. He said we need to have these things for every fan at their seats so they can make a lot of noise. We need the towels to be bigger so it messes with their vision. Sean Payton he walks around like an owner. He doesn't just see one thing. He looks at everything. He said we need the speakers to be louder so when teams are visiting, they can hear us celebrating after we win. He said that's good for camaraderie. Like, Sean Payton's attention to detail is what makes him one of the best coaches in the NFL. Okay. And that attention to detail has already started this process that I like to call building a new culture. This is what he's doing right now. This is why the media is not allowed. Because when you're building a new culture, the only people that need to be there are your brothers, right? You don't need anyone to record it. You're not going to turn it into a short. You're not going to turn it into, a YouTube video. This is the part that is private. And look, when things are private, they're more sacred. Like if I made a deal with you guys, with one of you, and it was just between me and you, and I told you, this is the way we're going to do things, blah, blah, blah. And then you found out that I was running a camera and just like telling the world. It's like those videos of people that go up to, and it's like, I met an old man and took him to Disney World for the day. And like he's having a good time. And it's like, yeah, I'm not that much of a pessimist where I'm going to complain about it. But here's the deal, okay? Why are you recording you doing good deeds? It just feels weird a little bit. Doesn't it just feel a little off? It's like I would feel uncomfortable going up, and there is an older lady. I just cut her acre, an acre of her grass a couple days ago, and it beat the hell out of me. I haven't done cutting grass in a while, and look, I like to do nice things for elderly people in my city too. But you know what I don't do? I don't walk up to her and go, "Hey, can I record you asking me for help?" Like it makes it unauthentic. Okay, so in this stage of building culture, authenticity, you know what I'm trying to say. Being authentic is key right now. And Russell Wilson, the king of ungenuine, disingenuine, Sean Payton's having to break through all those barriers. And I don't know another quarterback out there that has this type of a problem at quarterback. Because it just, there's a lot that needs to be right with Russell Wilson, and we do not have a lot of time to do it. Bill said, BRB said, do you want to just DM me on Twitter? Nice meeting you guys. Okay, I read that one. Yeah. So as of right now, Patrick Mahomes' net worth is only $40 million. So when you think about it, he's not like filthy rich by any means. I would say it's a very team friendly contract when you think about it that way. And that's kind of the difference between Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes and guys like that. Now, I would like you guys to put it in the comments, whether you're watching this right now live or you watch it tomorrow. Put in the comments if you think that Lamar Jackson is going to get more guaranteed money than Jalen Hurts got, or will he get less? And what are going to be the ramifications of Hurts' deal? How will it affect Lamar Jackson? He's the guy that's gotten the most talked about because it's been the most controversial, and media loves controversy. So he's got the 5-year, $255 million contract with 179.3 guaranteed. Will Lamar Jackson get more or less than $179 million guaranteed? And this article right here, I just pulled up, and I just wanted to bring it full circle before we coast out of here. So he said the negotiations between Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens just got harder. That's what I said. I'm so glad. I've been watching a lot of sports media today saying that this was good for Lamar Jackson. I'm like, you guys are high. How is this good for him? Hurts became the highest paid player in NFL history. He's surrounded by a lot of talent. He's working for an organization that's done a lot to make him comfortable. That sounds very much like the circumstances surrounding Jackson in Baltimore. The Ravens clearly would like to continue supporting him with good players and paying his market value. Hurts may not have an MVP award. Who cares? Oh my God, I hate that they even throw that in an article. That does not matter. It does not matter because if Patrick Mahomes didn't have, an insane year, Jalen Hurts would have won the MVP. That's just such a dumb thing to say. That's a personal award. People that get personal awards get a lot of money and don't do anything. People that get team awards will also get personal awards and they'll get Super Bowl rings. Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts. It's like Allen Iverson didn't he have like 3 MVPs or was it 2? How many MVP did Iverson have? I'll tell you what, he had 0 championships. He won the MVP once in his career. MVP doesn't get you much when it just depends what we're here for. We sit down at the table and it's just, what is our end game? Are we here for legacy? Are we here for playoffs? Are we here for playoffs? Like that's really what it comes down to. Like Allen Iverson is going to go down as one of the best I would say best finishers. Handles were insane. He was small, but he couldn't be stopped. But he's not going down like if you're LeBron James, you're trying to go down like Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? There's levels to this shit. And that is kind of the point I'm trying to make. And Lamar Jackson, if you want to, chase all this money, you may just not care about the levels. You just may be like, I'm going to get mine. What's important to you is really important, right? If it's important to you that you win at least 4 Super Bowls, then you're going to take team-friendly deals, right? It's just not that confusing, right? It's very simple. Tom Brady was worth the most money when he was in his prime, and he's taking team-friendly deals because when he retired, he wanted to be like, there's no doubt I'm the GOAT. I have 7 Super Bowls. And he can say that because of all those, pay cuts he took. And when money will always tell you what's important to people. It's true. Jalen Hurts has proven with this type of a contract, less guaranteed, whatever, that legacy is important to Jalen Hurts. And if I'm running an organization, I want a quarterback that cares about legacy because the money will come. You know what I mean? The money will always come. The sponsorships, whatever. Howie Rosman's gamble paid off. Yeah, obviously we know that. So Carson Wentz was going to be their guy, and they drafted Jalen Hurts, and the organization hated it. And they're saying also here Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow will be receiving probably at least $200 million guaranteed money, right? But we'll see. We'll see. And also put in the comments before I log off. Do you guys think that the Justin Herbert, the Joe Burrow deal is going to get done before the start of next season? Or do you think it's possible that this bridge will be crossed next season? It may be wise to get it done sooner than later, but at the same time, when I look at the quarterbacks, Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow, I think are the only quarterbacks that would be left, right? Because there's a group of elite quarterbacks that haven't been paid, and once Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow are paid, that group is kind of gone, and then it's gonna probably be a couple years before somebody's worth a bunch of money, like maybe Brock Purdy if he takes his team to the Super Bowl and wins. I mean, the guy's got yet to lose a game he doesn't break his elbow in. He averaged more points than the Chiefs as a starter. So if he goes out there after his elbow thing, and let's say he wins 15 out of 16 games and wins the Super Bowl, maybe he would be the next guy to get paid. But I'm trying to think if there's anybody out there that I'm not thinking of. And it does seem like it's just Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and Justin Herbert. Those are the only ones left. So yeah, you might want to be the the people that do it before, because it's like whoever does it last has to pay the most, right? But Lamar Jackson will probably be the one paid last, since he's turning down over 200 million guaranteed. I don't know how they're going to do anything to satisfy him. I don't know. And look, you got to give the Ravens a lot of credit too, because they have handled this with a lot of class. They haven't aired anything out about Lamar Jackson. You know, everybody has dirty laundry on people in relationships that close. And when you're not seeing eye to eye, it's very easy to not take the high road. And especially when people are attacking your organization, saying, you're not paying the man what he deserves and stuff like that. And this whole time, the Ravens have just stayed, private about this whole matter. It tells me that there's still respect there. And I'll say, as long as there's some respect, it's got to be it's got to be mutual. But as long as there's some respect existing in that relationship, it's fixable. Especially with Odell Beckham. I don't know if you heard what Odell said. Let me see if I can pull it up. He said, here, I don't want to paraphrase. I believe he said like something about Lamar Jackson's my quarterback, something like that. OBJ on Lamar. Let's see, and then I'll just hit this. Odell Beckham Jr. says Lamar Jackson gave him no assurances he'd be a Raven. That was 4 days ago. And then what was it? 6 days ago, he said clear understanding Lamar Jackson is Ravens quarterback as of right now. Odell Beckham Jr., this just came out a week ago. I didn't even see this one. Here's a club that I used to work across the street from, Club Live. This is the same club that was shut down for a little bit because they had an underage dancer in there. It's disgusting, but Club Live. It says Odell Beckham Jr. parties with Lamar Jackson at Live after signing with Ravens. I mean, they're trying to bond and get some chemistry together, so I would think that, there is a chance that Lamar Jackson comes back, but it's hard to tell. It really is, because when the information doesn't come out, we can't even have an opinion. Not that our opinions are worth a whole lot, but it's like we don't even know what to think when there's nothing that is being reported, nothing that's coming out. So that was the big news today. Jalen Hurts, big contract. Congratulations. Sorry that you got to deal with this guy for 5 more years, Bill. But hopefully Danny Dimes, continues to get better, and maybe you might have a good, healthy rivalry for the next 5 years. And right now, it's just kind of like, Patrick Mahomes is in our division, and we just get beat. We haven't beat the Chiefs in 6 years. So if the Eagles start dominating the Giants, we can always just vent to each other about what it's like to just be dominated. But hopefully Daniel Jones just really comes into form this year, and that rivalry is going to be fun to watch and really spark. So that was today's episode. We got Only Football with Kyle coming up on Wednesday. And then Thursday, we're going to be doing our trivia. And the trivia has been a lot of fun lately. If you guys haven't joined for the trivia, come check it out. Swing by. We had, I think we had like 5-6 people in it last time. It was a really good time. And I don't know if you guys can see, but behind me, we got the You're in Broncos country, and I got the banner over the tree. I haven't found the right spot to put it yet, but I really, really happy with the sign. It was like $4 on eBay. You're in Broncos country. So hope you guys like it. And like I said, if you are new here, as we had Joe in here today, so glad to have new people in here. Always happy to see new people jumping in here, and that means the channel is getting out there. But like Joe did, he subscribed, and I would really appreciate it if you guys are new in here. You would do it too. Helps us grow and get to where we want to be. So once the season starts, we'll be streaming games like crazy. Ask Bill. I literally stay on the stream during, Sunday, Monday, Thursday night football. I don't miss a single game. So Bill said I did terrible in trivia last week. Although, by the way, good news. Wife is out of the hospital as of today and doing better. That is the best news I've heard all day. I hope she continues to just keep getting better and better to get to 100%. That's awesome, man. That is awesome. Thank you for sharing that. You see, we're a family here. This is a channel that has become really close, and it's just sitting around talking football and talking ball. So if that sounds good to you, definitely subscribe. And those are our Twitter handles right there. Mine is FTBL, ONLY, PODCAST, Football Only Podcast. And my partner, Rick, who had to work again, but we're getting him back. And now Rick. And yeah, like I said, we'll have another episode on Wednesday and trivia on Thursday. So that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you're enjoying the rest or the last portion of your Monday. And you guys did it. Only 4 more days till Friday. But until then, go Broncos. See ya!